Hello, hello, hello. It is Carsman50 from the Hardware Diversity Discussion, and today I'm on my laptop, so please excuse choppiness, please excuse the horrible quality of video if that does end up eventuating throughout here. But we're back with my co-host from last week, Fred. How have you been?
I've been great. Had a really good week, and I'm glad to be back on.
Just actually a piece of news as we have spoken. I've got my motherboard back, so that is going to be back in my system this week, and hopefully this won't have to be put up with again.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Hope we can get back to top Gear Los Santos.
Oh yes, that's going to be a very, very long-awaited return, I must admit, and the fact that I've got many other projects to get through as well, so it's going to be a long week, that's for sure. But yeah, shall we do we have any other news to get out of the way before we start?
No, nothing new since last week. I think we should get on to the first topic.
Before we do though, however, I do have the advertising of the group again. That's Hardware Talk New Zealand. It's great. I'll put the link in the description below, and it's for you to come and join, to talk about latest hardware news, support content creators, and just post your questions if you've got anything there as well. So yeah, just make sure that if you want to be a member, answer the questions and I'll give you an accept. So yeah, we'll move on to our first topic, which is AMD. We talked about we're going to cover this last week because we mentioned Intel as our main topic, but this week it's AMD. So Threadripper 2, it's the big announcement at Computex this year, and it's a live working sample, 32 cores on the existing X399 motherboards. Take it away. What do you feel about that?
Well, this 32 core business, well, we've certainly come a long way in these recent years, haven't we?
Oh yes, very much so. And I remember, on a bit of a side note to this, we're going to talk more about this soon, but there's a study that was done a couple of years back about what the core count should be for server CPUs going forward, and AMD is actually going to be keeping in line with actually exceeding what people's expectations are in terms of core count in the server market, because they're going to be looking at 64, but 32 on the mainstream desktop is going to be absolutely incredible.
Can I just
yeah,
Threadripper, that is quite a cool name. Like, you have to admit.
oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it's quite sort of like in your face to Intel, and yeah, you definitely won't forget that one in a hurry.
Certainly won't.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to have the 64 PCI Express lanes, so you're going to be able to run 4 graphics cards in Crossfire or SLI at 16 times with spare N.2 slots through the PCH as well. It's going to have the Ryzen 2000 series features, so it's going to have that adjustable core clock with overclocking, and auto overclocking out of the box. It's going to have Store MI, so you're going to be able to use your SSD and your hard drive as one big storage unit. So it's going to be a really, really neat CPU, and it looks like the price is going to be around $1,500 for this thing, which is actually, to be honest, pretty cheap for what this is.
What it is.
Yeah. And you better got to drop it into existing motherboards as well that people have already. So that's crazy.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be using it's got a 250 watt TDP, so that's quite high, but they do come with an air cooler. Some of the high end ones come with an air cooler, so like you won't be able to have to run extensive cooling solutions on that, which is
But then my question is, will this air cooler, will the CPU be running well, or will it like barely get by on this air cooler and it would be something where you pretty much
have
should
to replace
upgrade?
Supposedly, from what I heard from the announcement, basically you are going to be able to run at its full turbo boost clock, for a period of time. You're not going to run it at 4.2 gigahertz all the time on that where you cooler, but it will boost to that when it needs to boost to that. So yes.
Although I imagine it'd be quite loud.
I don't. Well, basically, I mean, I'll see if I can find a photo of it, and I'm pretty sure it's not actually that bad. I think it basically looks like a it looks like a Noctua cooler. Here's a photo of it here. I'll get that up on the screen, but I'll send a link to you for that as well, and you can have a look at it.
No, I've had 2 AMP stock coolers, one for my 6300 and one for my 8300, and I can just say those things sound like jet engines.
Oh yeah. So that's the cooler for the Ryzen Threadripper.
Oh wow, that is. Is that RGB?
Yes, it is RGB. Yes, it is.
They had to do it.
Yeah, they did. They've got RGB on their other Ryzen coolers, so they're going to have to do it for their Threadripper coolers as well. But yes, so that is the cooler that you get with the CPU. So it's really, it actually,
That is pretty
yeah.
also quite badass, I have to say.
I like the black. I gotta say, I like the black.
Design.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it's gonna it's gonna have a supposedly the Threadripper is gonna have supposedly only at the moment a 3.4 gigahertz base clock, and the set apparently it's gonna have a 3.8 turbo on all cores out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be just all the 12 nanometer enhancements that you've seen with Ryzen Plus already. The improved memory support and what I said before. So yeah, there is a motherboard out there that's going to be support this out of the box. It's an MSI board. It looks really, really cool actually. The MSI X2009 creation. It's in the article there. 19 phase VRM, so you should be getting some decent overclocks out of that. And yeah, it's going to be really, really exciting. And Intel, all they've got. Okay. All they've got is a 28 core, so they're actually going to exceed that 32 cores as well. But moving on to simulate the performance of what's going to come out of these chips is DeBauer. This is from Case King, and he actually overclocked an existing Ryzen Epic CPU, which is a server grade CPU. He's got a server grade motherboard as well, and he managed to get that to 3.8 gigahertz. Through just some tweaking of some hardware and in the BIOS, and it's quite a fantastic CPU. I did write down the scores of it as well, and I think it's about 6,500 Cinebench points, which is that's going to be rather impressive, and I think hopefully that they can match what Intel is putting out in the high-end market as well. So do you have any? Yeah, I mean, considering the base clock of these Ryzen Epic CPUs is about, I think it's about 2.6, 2.7, I think, like that.
I wonder what cooling solution he used.
He used a water chiller. It's an open loop. It's a liquid, custom loop water cooler, but it's got dry ice in the water, so it is cooling it right down.
How many fish tanks do you think Intel would use to cool it?
Well, less than what their other one did that we talked about last week. That was I don't think they're using.
I mean, do you know what? They might as well give fish tanks out as stock coolers at this point. I mean, like, fish tanks for everyone.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind a fish tank if I'm honest. That's my cooler.
Yeah, that 20. Well, you can buy a mineral oil PC. You can submerge your whole PC in oil, and that cools it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind
of. But that's too much for me. I mean. Yeah. I'm not quite at that level yet.
No.
Put it that way.
No, definitely not. It's kind of. It's definitely one of those enthusiast level coolers, that's for sure. But they're saying that it's going to be quite an incredible CPU, and to know that he can simulate that 32 core Epic Threadripper, I should say, it's quite interesting, that's for sure.
And I wonder if you'll be able to give the Threadripper, the new Threadripper, the same treatment?
Oh yes, definitely.
And make that even more insane.
Oh yes, he's definitely been known to. He's an extreme overclocker, Roman Debauer. He's even delidded these CPUs, even though they are soldered. They are soldered. He's delidded them to show all the 4 modules that you can get for these CPUs. So the 4 Ryzen modules that you get. But yeah, it's kind of neat actually. But yeah, that's definitely different. That's for sure. And the last topic for AMD is the Ryzen 2 discussion. This is from Hot Hardware, and basically it's talking about that possibly Ryzen 2 that's coming next year will get 16 cores on the desktop. So that's insane. That's really insane. That
it is, because yesterday on the show we were talking about how like they were bringing 6 cores to the masses, right, with the i5, and then here they come, bang, 16 core.
Yeah, 16 cores to, because we talked about last week as well that they're going to possibly, Intel's going to be looking at 8 cores. For the mainstream, 8 cores, this is going to double down on that, and you're going to be getting possibly 16. So there's a bit of speculation going around at the moment about saying that cores don't matter and that your clock speeds are the most important thing. Do you think we'll ever be able to utilise 16 cores in a game?
No. I mean, I can see, like, a few years ago, the argument was that 8 cores and stuff like that were useless, right? Intel's 4 cores were great for gaming because games didn't utilise that many cores. Today, whilst it's true the games use more cores, they still don't quite use 16 cores. Let's put it that way.
Oh no, definitely not yet. I mean, going back to that Debauer article, he did run a time spy test, 3D Mark time spy, and supposedly he got it up to use 16 cores. So some things do scale, and when the consoles are going to be using Ryzen CPUs for their next generation, they'll scale even better with more cores, games will. So they will eventually get there, and it's just going to take time. It's not a matter of if, it's it's when.
And here I am sitting with my dual-core laptop and the 4-core gaming PC.
I'm sure you're,
like a pleb.
4 cores will have its limits soon, and you'll hopefully, once you realise that, you will upgrade at some point. But I mean, it's not a bad CPU, not by any stretch of the imagination.
And you know what? I mean, I would hear stories about people running 2nd generation Intel Core i7s, and just with some overclocks, they've been managing to still match current day performance.
Oh yes, very much so. You can get those 2700Ks up to about 4.7 gigahertz, and you can definitely still have a decent gaming system, that's for sure. However, my partner's computer is still running at is now running at i7 2600, and it seems to keep up with most things out there.
And you know what? As long as I stay away from productivity, I think the CPU will still last me a couple of years.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Certainly, games, if you are playing the latest and greatest, that it will start definitely to lag behind. But yeah, I mean, if you don't play that, or if you don't do a lot of productivity, then certainly 4 cores will be enough. You might need an i7 after all.
Yeah.
But
do you think that rather than it would have been a better choice for me that rather than getting a 6600, no, a 7600, I should have gotten the 8600 and gone for the cores for the extra price?
I mean, I think the 8600K is a decent CPU, and that will definitely last you another couple of years. But now, because you're locked into this platform, the Z270 platform, there's not much more you can get out of that, unfortunately, unless you go for the i7.
And also, you think that the main reason I went for this CPU was because of the amazing deal on the motherboard, which happens to be Z270.
Yeah. Mm.
So in the end, I saved a lot of money, so I guess it was worth going for a slightly older one after all.
Yeah. What do you think of the? Do you think that this is going to be, this 16-core Zen 2 is going to be like the go-to workstation CPU? Do you think they're going to be, do you think that's going to be like really help them get more market share? I mean, yeah, just your closing thoughts on Zen 2.
Well, I think once again, like for people who value CPUs that can do productivity as well as gaming, I think this will be great. But I think for the average gamer, once again, 16 cores at the moment is still a lot more than they need.
Yeah. Do you think what do you think the price difference is going to be between current generation and the 16 cores? Do you think there's going to be, that much of a price hike?
I think there will be not a massive, not a completely ridiculous price hike, but I think there'll be a pretty substantial one.
Yeah. I can't imagine that they'd be selling that for the same price as they're selling their 16-core CPU, well, the 8-core CPUs now. So that's going to be for sure. But will they be up with what the old, because obviously the previous generation Threadripper is 16 cores. Do you think they'll be selling this for $1,000 like they did with the old Threadripper CPUs?
Now don't quote me on this, because obviously it's all guesses, but I think that this will be priced more reasonably than we'd expect.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
AMD
I don't want to put out any solid numbers, but I would like to say
yeah.
Very reasonably priced.
Yeah, AMD generally has had the ability to more reasonably price their products. So yeah, I'd say this is probably, I don't know, $500 or $600 US dollar range potentially. I'd say that's probably where you're looking at in terms of the CPU. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, actually on the back of that, I suppose, there's another article here. We probably should have skipped it, but I suppose I'll bring it up anyway. And that's about the multi-CPU designs that, obviously Ryzen has employed and Intel has yet to employ. Basically it's going over saying that it's going to be more power efficient, it's going to scale better, and actually you are going to have better clock speeds because of these, because of Ryzen being multi-chip modules, which is like, having not at one big CPU, it's going to be smaller CPUs broken up. Do you think Intel is eventually going to bring these multi-chip designs into their CPU division?
Well, I think that if we see that this technology, they see that this technology brings up notable performance gain, I think they'll have to do it because it will be more performance, which is obviously what they want.
Because as I said, their designs won't currently scale that small, because obviously everyone's talking about smaller nodes, smaller processors, and 7nm is where it's going to be at next year, and they're going to shrink obviously beyond that. They're saying that basically Intel may not even get that small because of one big CPU doesn't get that small. They're going to have to break it up. So I don't know when they're going to do it. I don't know if they'll ever learn that that's going to be the way to go.
But then again, we were talking about them having delays with just their 10nm technology.
Yep, correct, yep.
And this is on a whole new level with 7nm.
That's very much so, yep. So
you're right, I think they'd be late to the party, but eventually.
Yeah, eventually, yeah. Do you think they'll come out with a big, real presiding win when they do? Do you think they'll really... Because I think, they're going to be behind for another year or two, I would suspect, in terms of bringing their high core count CPUs down even smaller, than what they've got. Well, smaller nodes, I should say, yeah. Because obviously if they can't yield a dual core CPU on 10nm, where are they going to be? They're next year. Who knows?
I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
We will very much going to have to wait and see. But so yeah, Ryzen seems to be the superior platform for now in terms of their breaking up on their CPUs. You know, make them smaller, have more of them, which is pretty crazy. And so we're going to move on to the graphics division now, which actually has been a hell of a lot lagging behind their CPU division, and that's talking about Vega, because they did actually this is WCCF tech, which you can take with a really big grain of salt, you know, pinch of salt, because they seem to do a lot of rumours stuff, and they had a leaked benchmark of their Vega 20 GPU, and that was basically the next generation of Vega, which is out now. The Vega 10 is out now, and it's actually at the moment about 5 to 10% quicker than a Vega 64. So, you know, this is obviously a prototype model. This is a prototype card. It's going to have 32 gigabytes of memory rather than the 8 that's out there at the moment, and it's going to have 7. It's on 7 nanometers. So, but this is I think this is really kind of like a bit out there at the moment in terms of, like, I said apparently it's 70% faster per clock than a Vega 64. Apparently so, because that is a big jump. Because obviously apparently in terms of this generic VGA, it was running at 1000 megahertz, where the Vega 64 is running at 1700 megahertz, and it's already about 5% quicker, even at 1000 megahertz. So if you scale that up to 1700, then it's going to be 70% faster. But I mean, I don't know. Like, do you think this is far-fetched? Do you think this is real? Do you think this is actually going to happen?
Well, straight away, like you say, I mean, these leaks, right? A lot. I'm not buying it.
No. I mean, I think in terms of like having something this far off. I mean, because Vega, the next generation of GPUs, you know, even is still about 2 years away, according to AMD. Because this, going back to the next article on Twigtown. Oh, thanks Twigtown. Yes, I know I have to whitelist you on my laptop. God damn. R.I.P. Twigtown. Anyway, they released 7 nanometer Vega at Computex. They actually already have except it's not going to be a gaming GPU. It's going to be a workstation and AI based card, and they said it's going to have 50% power savings. It's going to be it's going to have a 400 watt TDP, and it's going to have 32 gigs of RAM built in. And they said that potentially this is going to be quicker than what's out there now with their NVIDIA what are they called? Tesla cards, their compute GPUs. This is actually going to be quicker than that. But they're saying that Vega's not going to come to gamers because it's going to be their next generation, which is going to be Navi. That will be the first gaming GPU on 7 nanometers. So do you think, I mean, it's going to be crazy. They've shrunk Vega down to just under half of what it is now, which is about a 70% reduction, and it's going to be about 50% power reduction on what's out there at the moment. But however, because of their architecture, it may have a higher power requirement because of their clock boost or their RAM needing more power and stuff like that. So I don't know. Yeah, as you said, you're not buying the previous article. Are you buying that Navi will be quite good? I suppose we'll move on to that in a minute in terms of the next article. But yeah.
So Navi has the next generation gaming cards, right?
That's correct. Yes, and it was built. It was built for the PS5
Yeah.
because
Built.
yeah, it was built for the PS5 because AMD has lost focus a lot with their GPUs. Because they do a lot of semi-custom stuff. Obviously, they're really in a great relationship with Microsoft and with Sony because they build all their hardware for the consoles.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I saw an article. I should have actually linked this in here as well. But Vega was built for the iMac. It actually that was what it was designed for. Because obviously, then Mac Pro has the Vega Frontier Edition in it. And that's obviously they talked with Apple, and that's the GPU that they wanted for their device. So basically, obviously Sony and Microsoft and said, this is what we want performance-wise. This is what we'll build for you. So is that so? Like, have they has AMD really lost focus? Has they really said that this is the end for making discrete graphics for gamers, or are they just going to or is Navi going to be good? Do you think, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are the fact that, like, I think that the console graphics and PC graphics should be kept separate. That's my opinion. Like, they should be kept as two separate things. The consoles do the console stuff. People will be dedicated PC GPUs.
But AMD can't afford to have too many product lines. They just don't have the R&D budget to do it. And they seem to be making more money from these vendors approaching them for designs. But I guess obviously the PC graphics is a hell of a lot more scaled up than their console graphics. So you will get a better part, but it will be... And consoles are computers anyway. They're running x86 architecture. You can... they are basically a mid-range PC. So I guess in that light, you can expect to have, obviously scaled up graphics, but it will be based on a console GPU. So actually, in light of that as well, do you think that console games will run better on the PC because of this as well? Because obviously there's some games that just aren't optimized to run on both platforms. Do you think that means their reliability and their optimization will be better because of this as well?
That will be running the Navi or Navi. Is it Navi?
Navi, yeah.
Navi. The PC that will be running Navi, I believe. Yeah, because it's the same architecture as those games were originally be designed for. So I believe so. Yes.
Do you think that Nvidia will lose out on this as well? Do you think that will impact their bottom line too much? Oh.
In fact, a matter of that, because a lot of games, let's face it, are generally they're more focused because they know there's more sales in console. They cater more to the consoles, right? So I believe that the majority of games. So I believe that if they make it, there is better optimization for the PC card as well. So they work better together, the console games and the PC graphics card, to make the games run better. If it's the majority of games that would run better in that case, so I think Nvidia would lose out because AMD would be gaining a lot of performance in most titles. I worded that.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, I mean,
badly.
No. I think it makes perfect sense. Yeah, I mean, Nvidia is certainly they're not in the semi-custom business that much, and they haven't. Apple has moved completely from Nvidia, and I don't think Sony and Microsoft will approach Nvidia for console production. So it's really about Nvidia actually talking to more developers rather than actually making the hardware to support, to match these consoles. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Yeah, I think 2017 was exciting with Ryzen being released and the new Xbox, being in production and things like that as well. But I think 2019 will be even more competitive and even more exciting for us as enthusiasts, and hopefully competition, I guess, as well. We will move on to, gaming. I guess this is your forte.
Oh yeah.
What? Yeah. I mean, I didn't talk. I didn't see much of E3, and I don't know if you did.
I watched the. Let me think. I watched the Microsoft. I watched the Bethesda, and I watched some of the PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
Coverage. Sony coverage.
Yeah. So we've got Cyberpunk 2077. Which was that at the Sony booth? I think Microsoft actually. It was Microsoft that actually did this one. Have you heard much about the game?
I'm gonna go straight up and say no. Like, I had never heard of it until I saw it, and I haven't really heard of it since. But I have to say, it did look really cool from what I saw.
Yeah, it's been in production for a long time, and now they're finally it was because they're not making another Witcher series game for quite some time because of this huge project that they've got themselves into in terms of this. But it's going to be really futuristic, really sci-fi, and basically Witcher game merged into that sort of world. So it's kind of for a small developer, it's going to be quite interesting in terms of like.
Great way, I'm gonna go out and say, like, CD Projekt Red, what they do, I think they're one of the best studios.
Yes.
Out there. I mean, they work with such a small team, right?
Yep.
And they've gotten, what is it, 2 Game of the Years games?
Yes, they have. Yeah, they got. Yeah, Witcher 3 was definitely one of them.
The Witcher 3.
What was the other one? Sorry.
The first Witcher, just the Witcher.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, that was a very good game. And it's good. So hopefully this is going to be another one. And I really would probably, I'd say it's going to be another game of the year. It says it's going to be a third-person perspective. So actually, third person is going to be limited to cinematic sequences. Sorry, they should say. But it's going to be quite. It looks really beautiful. Actually, like the graphics look absolutely amazing. It's obviously going to get some guns and things, and for a CD Projekt Red game, it's going to be quite cool. And it's obviously going to be really heavily story focused, like the Witcher games have been as well. So it's going to be, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to this one.
I felt that in chat when I was watching the Microsoft E3 coverage. Everyone went crazy in chat when this game showed up.
Yeah.
Everyone went wild.
Yeah.
You know how that happens, but it was like that times 10. Everyone loved it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm really because I mean, it's going to be for. It's probably going to be really demanding on your PC, like Witcher 3 was, which is going to be good. That means an excuse to buy high-end hardware, I guess. But yeah, it's going to be a really beautiful game because people have been waiting on a trailer for years. There's been no announcement of this game except it's just going to be. It was going to be a bit quite behind the scenes, but now it's out there. It's going to. People are going to be waiting for this one. I don't know if there's a release date. Was there a release date for this? I don't think so. Was there?
I can't say.
No, I don't think so.
My guess today.
Sorry?
Wait, what?
Oh, I thought I heard something, but yeah. What did you say something?
No, I accidentally played something really loud in my headphones.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I don't think there's any don't think there was any release date, so it could be next year at this, all we know at this stage. But even if it is, it's going to be, I think, more time is better than less time. Yeah, definitely.
In some ways, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather have a delayed finished game than an early unfinished game.
Yeah, definitely.
So, should we move on to Metro?
Yes, we should. Was it another game released at the? That was at the Sony booth, was it, or was it the Microsoft booth?
Microsoft again.
Yeah, it was Microsoft again. Have you played any of the Metro games? Please tell me you've played Metro games.
Last Light.
You played Last Light? Oh yeah, that's probably one of the better ones, I must admit.
And 2033.
Yeah. So this is going to be open world. It's going to be, you're going to be on the surface, so it's obviously going to be, the radiation is probably not going to affect you too much, hopefully. But it's going to be like, obviously, a nuclear winter, there's lots of ice everywhere and things like that, but it's going to be nuts. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what the world of Metro is like, other than outside of the Metro system that most of the games are based in. Yeah.
I really hope it's like Stalker.
I haven't played Stalker, but I can imagine it's going to be quite creepy.
Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl, that is a great game. And
yeah.
I love, despite it's my favourite. I mean, Fallout comes close, but this kind of post-apocalyptic scenario, in my mind, just slightly beats out the Fallout one.
Yeah, it's definitely like,
I just prefer the way it's presented.
Yeah, Metro definitely does give that atmosphere of a real tension society where it's because of the nuclear bomb going off, and there's going to be a complete wasteland out there. It's going to be, I wonder how similar Fallout 76 is going to be in terms of how apocalyptic it's going to feel. Because obviously you don't come back to the Sorry?
Yeah, because 76 is going to be more apocalyptic than the previous game.
Yeah.
And it's much closer to the actual bomb droppings than the rest of the games.
Definitely, yeah. Because it's basically set not too long after it's clear to go out, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's.
But should we think about that when we get on to Fallout 76 as a good topic?
Did we put Fallout 76 as a topic?
Yeah.
Oh, we did. Yes. So I need to open that one.
But yeah.
It's quite a
different.
Yep, it's open. Yes. Yeah, it's going to be quite a different turn for the series, being a multiplayer title, isn't it? Oh.
Alright,
Hello?
Hello? I'm still here.
Yeah, sorry, you're just lagging a bit.
Yeah. Are we going to speak about it now, or are we going to...
Oh, we
speak now?
Yeah, we'll speak about it now. Yeah, might as well.
Alright. Yeah, so I'm going to say Fallout 76 is one of the games I'm looking most forward to.
Yes,
straight up, a lot of people have been skeptical about the multiplayer, but I'm all for it.
You are? Yeah.
I've always wanted a multiplayer Fallout experience.
Yeah, it's going to be, because Fallout 4 was amazing, and they're saying they're not going to be making another New Vegas type of game where it's going to be, based on a third-party publisher or developer, I should say. But this is going to be. I think this is going to be the one to look for, the Fallout game that everybody should play. But I don't know about the multiplayer is going to be interesting, and the storyline, hopefully it's going to be a strong storyline. Oh, go away. Sorry, it was an ad. And it's 80 years since the world, so it's pretty close to when people were just starting to come out of the shelters, I guess you can say.
I'm just looking forward to it. Because, Fallout 4, right, it has so much weird and wacky fun in it, and that's a single player game. Most single player games can't really pull that off the degree that Fallout has with, wackiness. That's partly due to Bethesda and massive amounts of glitches and stuff and bad voice acting. That's kind of a meme.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like
yeah.
all that fun and messing around and all the shenanigans in a multiplayer setting, I can just see that being such a fun game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. Yeah, definitely. To have that as a focus, because I didn't know what Bethesda were going to do next. I actually had no idea.
Elder Scrolls 6, fucking bomb.
I don't know if I watched much of that.
No, they literally made a trailer. Well, not a trailer. They basically all they did was reveal it was in development. They didn't say anything other than it's in development.
Oh, okay, right, yeah, I didn't think.
And like right at the end of their presentation, and everyone just freaked out.
Yeah, because like obviously, I don't. How old is Skyrim now?
Oh god, really old.
Yeah. That
Skyrim and like it's the Elder Scrolls series, and it's like one of the older series that's still around.
Yeah, it's definitely OG. That's for sure. It's it's not. It's one of those ones I've got to get right, and they have gotten right. Skyrim was a brilliant game. What's next? Do you want to discuss? Do you want to go to Sony, or do you want to go to Spyro? What would you like to talk about?
Don't know much about the Spyro. Let's go for The Last of Us 2.
Last of Us 2? Yep.
Yeah.
Alright, that's The Last of Us 2. I haven't played The Last of Us, and that's one of the reasons I actually wanted to buy a console, is to play The Last of Us, because it's like a story game. It's one of the... It's actually probably one of the best story games out there. I'm going to say that.
I'm going to say something controversial.
Yes.
All right, brace yourself. It's a great game the first playthrough, but it lacks replayability.
Oh yeah, there's not many. Like, it's kind of
super lim. Just like if every playthrough is the same, there's nothing you can like do differently.
Yep.
It's like the first playthrough is absolutely amazing story experience, but once you know the story, and then it just feels like you're doing the same as last time, just without the thrilling story pushing you and compelling you.
I suppose it'd be kind of like a Telltale game in that sense. Because it's like you actually have to do particular options and do particular things, very frequently. So I guess if you know what options you have to pick, then it kind of does probably ruin the experience. Yeah, but I still think it's going to be, obviously Ellie's a lot older now. She's taking charge of the story, so you get to play her. But yeah, it's going to be. I don't know how they're going to improve the gameplay. Like, what's going to be different? Do you think?
I don't think gameplay-wise it's going to be a huge difference. I think it'll be similar gameplay, but once again, if you look at The Last of Us, the gameplay itself for me was fairly average. Like, that wasn't where the game stood out. The game stood out at its story.
Yeah.
And I think that's where The Last of Us 2 will stand out as well. It'll be the story, not necessarily the gameplay.
No. I think they might improve it. Maybe they probably have heard feedback from people, and to see whether they want to improve the gameplay at all. But yeah.
Oh, it definitely will improve it. I just can't see there being any new innovations in gameplay features.
So are you going to play it when it comes out?
I'll pick it up, yeah. I'll definitely pick it up.
Yeah, another excuse for me to buy a PlayStation. I think I probably should. I haven't really I haven't owned a PlayStation since PS2. So yeah, so I sort of I've had a 360 ever since. It's still sitting beside me there, practically unused. But yeah, it'd be nice to actually better get back into some console games again. Some good ones, I should say, not just any old console games. But yeah. So Sony. What else did Sony bring out? Yeah, any Sony topics you want to bring up, or you want to move on?
other than the fact that they are still being extremely annoying with the whole crossplay thing. No, not really.
Oh yeah, don't.
No, that's one thing that, how do I put it, really grinds my gears. Like,
Yes.
I just think it frustrates me so much that I have to buy the same game twice, to play with my brother and with my friends. But of course, that's what they want to accomplish. They want to sell.
Because they really stole this generation of consoles where they said, because you know how Microsoft announced their whole DRM business at the start of the PS4 and Xbox One debacle, and Sony said no, you can just play our games however you want to play our games, and then Microsoft backtracked, but that really put Sony on a front foot in terms of saying that it's actually going to be a better experience for people. But now they've just gone and did a complete 180, and their experience has gone to shit.
Do you agree with me though? At the moment, Xbox is ahead of PlayStation. I mean, in my opinion, it is.
The cross-play is a lot better, and the fact that you can buy a game... Actually, the cross-play on PC is good too, because you can just play some games you can play on PC as well.
Yeah, I mean, I do that all the time. I play Forza with my brother.
Which is...
I also think that in terms of technology, because the Xbox One X, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I'm informed, is substantially better than the PS4 Pro.
The thing, I think, there's actually a CPU bottleneck, because yes, they are running 8 cores, but they're running like cores from about 7 or 8 years ago as part of their architecture, and they're running an RX 480, essentially an RX 480 as part of their GPU package. Now, if you think of an RX 480, can you run 4K on an RX 480? Not really. But it is still a hell of a lot better of an experience, because you can get the full 1080p 60 experience on the Xbox One X. So that to me is a really good, I think what the console should have been really. But yes, you are paying for it, but yeah, I think it's definitely worth the upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, should we talk about Spyro now? Oh, hello?
Ask me what Spyro is.
Well, it started on the PS1, and it's for kids essentially. It's made by Naughty Dog. I think, is it made by Naughty Dog? Activision. Sorry, it's Activision.
Alright. Okay.
Activision. And basically, you run around as a dragon. It's really good. You have to collect gems. It kind of is a Naughty Dog title, because it kind of is quite similar to Crash, and it's a very open world game, and you I think you grow up as a dragon as well. I think you do eventually grow older, and because you've been trapped in certain worlds or something like that, and you have to rescue dragons and things like that. So it's a really good kids game. I think it's actually some cases better than Crash as a kids game, but I'm glad that it's coming back, and not just a remaster like Crash has been. It's actually going to be a completely different story, which is going to be quite cool. I think it's going to
Switch.
Sorry?
And it's coming to Switch.
Yeah, I think that's going to be awesome actually. Yeah, that's
picking up Nintendo Switch because of the amount of games for it. I mean, it's crazy. The amount of good games on the portable device. I would love to play Skyrim on the go. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I was quite skeptical of Switch, thinking, it's going to be underpowered, it's not going to run games properly, and it's just, but actually, in terms of a handheld console, it's on point. It really is. The fact that you can enjoy Skyrim on a plane, for example. That's pretty cool. Yeah, definitely. And I think Sony could have really picked up the game in terms of their portable consoles, but they've completely delved out of them now, and obviously the Switch has taken its place.
Although the Vita didn't really have many games.
No, it was pretty under-supported, and the And yes, it did have a quad-core CPU, and yes, it did have a really nice screen, and yes, it did have like a lot of missing features that the PSP didn't have. Well, yeah, but it just, yeah, I think it was a really last stab in the dark for them to compete with Nintendo, and they clearly haven't.
Nintendo, do they still make DSs?
Yes, they do make the 2DS, which is their last console, their portable console, which was like a flip top, like the old 3DS.
Back in the day.
Sorry?
DS Lite. I had a light blue DS Lite back in the day.
Yeah, they were really cool.
Mario on it. Wow. But they still make DSs. Are they like, wow.
Like the original DS?
Bloody hell.
Yeah, they do make the DSs still. Yeah.
Listen, the Nintendo 3DS XL costs $200.
Yeah.
I could get an Xbox or a PlayStation for that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can get like
But
a
why
3.
would Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's... Jesus Christ, also the 2DS cost $150. I'm kind of in shock, if I'm honest.
I bought the first generation 2DS. I've still got it. I got it for like $50 New Zealand dollars off someone at course, and I've got a couple of Pokemon games with it as well, and which is quite a bargain considering Pokemon X is actually still like a $50 game on its own. But yeah, I've barely touched it. Yeah.
But hang on, look, I'll send you a link right quickly. This is the one I used to have. That's the one I had.
Oh yeah.
You remember it? Oh,
I'm just going to minimize you for a second. Yeah, you are here.
Alright, that's good.
Did you see? Oh, yeah, oh yes, the original. The DS. Yes, I do know the DS Lites. Yeah.
That I had when I played Lego Star Wars, complete saga, Lego Indiana Jones. You know, those were the days.
Yeah.
Those were.
There's actually Need for Speed titles for those things too.
Wow.
Yeah, which is just like, it's not
Very
it.
nice.
Yeah, it's just. Why would you? I don't know. Why would you bother? Yeah. Any more gaming news we want to talk about? Oh, Death Stranding. Did you see much of Death Stranding?
I've heard a little bit. Is it not like made by Hideo Kojima?
I'll just load it up here. I didn't read the article too much. Oh, sorry, I don't need your emails.
I think it's going to be extremely weird because Hideo Kojima's got a habit of making things weird in its own unique way.
Yes, it is Kojima. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Like he makes weird games.
Yeah, it is going to be. It looks really, really nice though. Like it looks like a really graphically intensive game. But yeah, and Metal Gear and Silent Hill were good games, definitely. But
just bringing up the Sony 3 thing, and you're right, that does look like bloody good graphics. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I knew Metal Gear Solid 5 was a really good really good graphically showing game. So I guess like this is going to be a step ahead of that.
Because Metal Gear Solid, what was that, 2015 now? Quite a while ago.
Yeah. Was that 4 or 5? I thought it was 5.
No, it was definitely 5.
Yeah.
Phantom Pain. Did you play that?
Unfortunately, no, I did not. I should have, and I probably will do eventually. Sorry?
Did you play the older games?
No, I never played a Metal Gear Solid game. No, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah, no, I never played it, unfortunately.
But you know what I'm going to say? We've still got a lot of topics, so I think we should just jump forwards take quite a jump for time's sake. What do you think?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, There's what do you want to look at?
Well, I was thinking just quickly. I'm going to say I'm just going to touch on Forza Horizon 4. That looks amazing. Doesn't look like the biggest leap from Horizon 3, but then in my eyes, that's a good thing because I loved Horizon 3. But it looks like it's got just enough content to make it a better game, and like I like the way it's going, but otherwise I don't know much to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope it's not going to be full of microtransactions.
I doubt it.
Because Forza 7 is.
Not. Yeah. Have you played Forza 7?
No, I have not played Forza 7.
I've really heard it because, from my experience playing it, the microtransactions are present, but they're really not intrusive to the gameplay in any way, shape, or form, really.
And you do get a lot of like griefers in Forza 7 as well.
Yes, but that doesn't happen in Horizon because Horizon's a different kind of game.
True,
I mean, it's
yeah.
not a special, but you don't have rounds. And as well, they've got the thing with the people haven't been specifically invited by you or your friend. They go straight through you. So I mean,
yeah, exactly, yeah. Which is great. It's how it should be.
So anyway, moving on to let's see, the USB-C for VR.
Yeah, we'll move on to our science and tech. This is topic 4, and this is another TweakTown article. Thanks, TweakTown. Everybody needs, like, your website, even though not really, but I'll just bring that up. Should close that.
Wow, alright. Yeah. I mean, I think it's, like I say, like I've said to you before, I am a firm believer in best cables, like best variation in cables and just less cables.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really good step in the right direction for VR, because a big problem with VR has always been the amount of cables and the cables getting in the way and everything. But if you only need one cable for the headset, that suddenly gives you a lot more freedom to move.
Yes, yeah. And yes, the HTC the Vive Pro is wireless, semi-wireless, but like, I don't think people would mind really having one cable, like if it's not wireless.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. I mean, USB-C, as we're talking about yesterday, was not actually is not a truly universal cable. You know, because some pins do require different, programs to be different, uses. But like, so you couldn't just plug your phone charger into this, like, cable and expect it to work.
Phone charge. USB-C phone charge.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't support this, but like, because obviously they're saying the previous generation headsets require like 2 USB 3 ports, 2 USB 2 ports, an HDMI port, and it's just like, it's a lot of cables. But to have your power and your data going through this would be quite cool. And they're even saying that potentially the next generation of graphics cards will have USB-C on them for this type of application. Yeah.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, that is quite neat actually. Yeah, I mean, do you think VR is like? Do you think you'll be picking up like a Vive or a Rift or something like that? And do you think there's a real practical application for this sort of thing?
Straight away, I'm going to say I've just picked up recently, a few days ago, G27, and I am loving it. And I'm definitely going to pick up the Oculus Rift because some of them are going for incredibly cheap here. So I'm definitely picking up Oculus Rift so I can play Assetto Corsa and Fallout 4 VR when I get my new graphics card.
I would say that would be worthwhile. Certainly, racing games in VR look absolutely incredible. It's one of those things I need to experience before I die. That's for sure. But to have like, you can go ahead.
discovered that the graphics card I'm getting, the 1060, will run Project Cars 2 at actually reasonably good settings in VR.
Oh yeah, yep, yeah. It should be. Yeah, it should be fine. Hopefully, I mean, we're talking more about saying that potentially it's going to be a bit iffy, but who knows? Yeah, you're just going to find out. Because I know Assetto Corsa will definitely be easy enough.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah. No big deal there at all. But yeah, I think VR is definitely going places. And do you think AR is a better, augmented reality will be more prominent in the near future, or do you think VR is going to, or like as in like using the real world with animated graphics on top of the real world, like Pokemon Go, I guess?
I think that for me personally, VR is much more appealing because I'd imagine for augmented reality to work properly, for games at least. Well, you've got to think, game developers, right? They develop everything to fit within their map, right? But how are they gonna? It's gonna be hard for them to develop a game that will fit into your room with your furniture set.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, I don't know if you ever saw the Microsoft HoloLens.
I've looked at it briefly before.
Because that's like AR, as in like they make the worlds quite small and you can see what's going on. It's still a prototype. It's not going to be anywhere near finished for like a number of years. But like, I think that blew my mind. Remember, I saw the trailer that time ago.
I'd like to say straight away that like augmented reality, it's a completely different thing to virtual reality.
Yeah.
Virtual reality is supposed to immerse you into a world that you're not really in. It's supposed to put you in a world, but augmented reality isn't supposed to immerse you in anything because you're already there.
Yeah, it's meant to like. I guess it'd be good for like designing buildings or like using it for medical science and that sort of thing. Like to actually say, well, what are we meant to like see like an X-ray in 3D in real time would look kind of cool, or like.
I can imagine the time.
Or like building a house. Like, can you actually see what that's going to look like in 3D in real time? That's going to be that's going to be the applications for AR, I think.
Applications within gaming.
No, I don't think so. No. And I think.
Wonder, would it be necessary to have a lot of power to drive augmented reality? Is it demanding?
Well, I don't know if you remember the Google Glass.
Yeah.
That was AR.
I do.
And that was running like a mobile phone chipset at the time. So, I mean, AR, yeah, it does. I mean, I don't know. I guess, like, it probably will, because you are actually putting 3D graphic. You're taking the camera input, and you're like modifying the camera input of the device to actually show what it's doing in the real world. So I guess, kind of, because you're not rendering a whole world. You're just rendering parts of what's going. Like what's parts of what's going on. So maybe it does require less hardware. I don't know. I haven't really looked too much into that. That's something I might talk about on a future show with future guests and things as well. They'll probably may know more about it than I do. But that's a really exciting topic, and I remember you were telling me you were quite excited to have that as a future standard for virtual reality. So shall we move on to our random topics for this week?
Sure.
Western Digital.
Shutting down their hard drive factory.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Well, it obviously shows that SSDs are on their up and up, really, because they bought SanDisk a couple of years ago. It should say when they bought SanDisk? Doesn't say.
I'm going to say, straight ago, I'm going to say that you're correct in saying that SSDs are well, they've come a very long way, and they've gained a lot of popularity and momentum and taking up more and more of the market in comparison to hard drive. But
Yes.
if you ask anyone from my school, class, any teachers, my parents, pretty much most people I know, if you ask them what is a hard drive, they don't know what a hard drive is. If you ask them what's a solid state drive, they'll have no clue. Like, no clue at all. But if you ask them what's a hard drive, they'll know straight away.
The way that I explain it is, it's like basically you've got a big flash drive, like a really fast, big flash drive. That's how I explain an SSD.
Still, a lot of people don't know what it is. So until more and more people know what it is, it still won't replace hard drives completely.
No, and I think certainly like data center, like the server market, is just now starting to begin to have SSD only systems because of the price and the availability and the size of them, because there's still a size disparity on how much storage you can fit onto an SSD.
But I like to say what I said was actually a little bit stupid, because the people I'm talking about who don't know what an SSD is, they're people who don't know much about computers, so they don't build their own computers, so they actually built computers come with SSDs today. So what I said was a bit stupid, but I'd like to say, as far as external storage goes, hard drives will still reign supreme, I think, for quite a while, because people know what that is.
Yeah, I think external hard drives will still remain cheap. They will still remain the mainstream option until SSDs become like multiple terabytes for the same price. Yep. Like until that happens, then yeah, SSDs won't be like you can get them, and yes, they are actually relatively affordable, about 60 or 70 cents a gigabyte, but they're not 10 cents. They're not like what they're not near hard drive pricing. And yes, there is technology coming out where they will be really bumping up the price per gigabyte. They'll be really low in a couple of years' time. But until then, SSDs won't be mainstream enough. But I think them closing down a hard drive factory really says that we are pushing more for SSDs rather than hard drives. We're not innovating hard drives anymore. Do you think that's it? Yeah, I mean, do you think like your pre-built systems from like HP and Dell and Lenovo and stuff will be SSD only soon, or do you think there's like another dimension to waiting for SSDs to catch up?
Not SSD only. I think they will have most of their storage, like a 500 or a 1000 gigabyte hard drive, and then a small, maybe 256 or 500 gigabyte SSD as well.
Because most laptops are in that configuration nowadays. Like if you buy like a reasonably high-end, mid-range sort of 1060 laptop, you do get an SSD and a hard drive as your storage. Like there's not a lot of SSD only laptops unless you buy a MacBook. I think they're one of the only SSD only, or like a really slim and light.
Oh yeah, my laptop's SSD only.
Yeah, like a really slim and light laptop, they are SSD only. But like pre-builts, yeah, unless you buy like a custom pre-built from like from like a company who builds PCs, then yeah, most PCs probably won't be SSD only for a while yet, I would say.
Can I just ask, what happened to hybrid drives? You don't hear about them anymore.
No, that's actually true. I mean, like the hard drives that have like a built-in SSD. I know Western Digital had one that was their WD Gold, I think it was called. No, Black Hybrid. Yeah, WD Black Hybrid. It had like a 128 gig SSD and a 1 terabyte hard drive all slapped in one package. I guess what happened to those is, I don't know. I think they should come. They did disappear. I think what happened was at the time the controllers weren't good enough to actually support multiple drives off one. So like the SSD speed was quite hampered because of how fast the controller was to control the hard drive and the SSD. But I think nowadays you shouldn't have that problem. Like you should actually be able to run a hard drive and an SSD at full speed on a single controller and not have the problem. But yeah, I guess there's no hard drives that support NVMe out there. Maybe that's what it is. I don't. That's actually a good question, because they've been gone for years.
And you used to see them quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like Seagate were doing a lot of that. They were building like 8 or 16 gigabyte caches into their hard drives, so like you could access some data relatively quickly, and then have the rest of the data once it gets off that cache into the main disk storage. But like but having like a fully fledged SSD and a hard drive on one package, I think they should get back into that personally.
Should be a thing again.
Yeah, definitely.
Should
Anyway,
we move on to the AI that drove up Goodwood.
Yes,
AI
we should move on to the Goodwood Festival speed. I know you presented quite a lot of outrage when I shared this in the group a couple of weeks ago. Has your thoughts changed at all?
No.
No.
No. Do you know why then? Alright. What are cars for? Right? Now, think about this. I'm an in and out car guy, alright?
Yeah.
And as much as I appreciate innovation, I still believe that motorsport, alright, is around because of the emotional aspect of it. The emotional raw aspect of driving a fast car, the driver, adrenaline, all the intensity, and that's what makes you want to watch it. I think the minute you remove the driver from the equation, all that emotion is in a way gone. And especially in an electric car like this with no sound, it's just a soulless, driverless, quiet thing. It might drive very fast, but there's no entertainment factor. There's no passion in it at all. Like, what's the point of motorsport? I mean, I can see why commuters want AI cars, right? But keep AI out of racing. That's all I have to say. Keep AI out of racing.
I mean, like, I guess, like, in some ways, I agree. In other ways, I don't. Because if you think about war, alright, I know it's a really tragic situation. I don't like bringing it up, but the innovation that's come out of war has been huge. You know, they developed the internet, like the GPS, and a lot of modern things. But so like, if you don't have AI driverless cars, then you won't get them for you and I. Like, they won't exist because there's nowhere to develop them. They don't have a testing ground for them.
Oh, but you have to think though that even though they race, I see what you mean, because there's a lot of F1 technology, like racing technology that's trickled down to street cars.
Yes.
Right. I can definitely see that, but the thing they say about them having no test is kind of wrong, because of course, as long as there's competition, there's going to be innovation, and that competition doesn't necessarily have to be through racing.
Where would it be then?
Well, competition between statistics, I'd imagine. Like, if this one driverless car has an AI that can do this much, for example, the Tesla AI can do so much, right? Then there's another AI that the competition is where the other AI company tries to develop an AI that can do more, right? And they'll keep on developing until at one point you get to an AI that can do everything, right? And you can do that without needing racing, because what?
But you need to simulate those numbers. You need the practical example.
What developments, as far as AI goes, what developments could be made on the racetrack that could be applied on roads for AI?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing that a lot of people are worried about with driverless cars is their decision making, and two, their ability to avoid collisions. That is a lot of what AI, a lot of the development that's going into them is like, how much information then can they get before they make a decision about, say, like the
very way I like to say that with the technology of today, straight away, a car can run, AI can run all the different calculations of all kinds of different outcomes a lot faster than your brain, right? If you see a car burst a tire in front of you, and if it's on the motorway and the driver loses control, you're going to swerve to one direction instinctively because you're going to want to get away from that thing as fast as possible. You're going to swerve either to the left or the right to get around it, of course. But the AI will be able to work out today, with today's technology, be able to see how fast that car is spinning, which direction it's spinning in, and be able to run all those calculations in very little time, and then take the most effective route around the incident.
But that's still not like 100% developed. Like it's not quite there yet.
Of course not. I don't see how that couldn't be developed off the racetrack.
I probably can. I mean, like, but
obviously, also I like to say that motorsport would, I'd imagine, die quite fast if they introduced AI. Like, it would die quite fast because I know a lot of people share my opinion.
Oh yeah, I do too, and I think like that's why they need their own particular. Like, if they want to have an AI league of motorsport, then they can go ahead and do that sort of thing. Like, they shouldn't replace like quote unquote Formula One as part of like with AI, or they shouldn't replace like the touring cars with AI. They should have their own AI development sort of thing.
About what part of watching an AI car race would be fun? Like,
I would watch it.
And there's no risk in it. Like, where's the risk? Where's the emotion? Like, you can't support a certain driver because it's an AI. You can't. The AI doesn't have a personality. It doesn't have a driving. Well, they might have a driving style. Actually, I can't say that. But like, it doesn't have a personality. A lot of the
but they want
like,
to have
based off
like
how they behave off the track.
Yeah, I guess like your driving style comes out on how they how it's programmed and how it learns. I suppose is the other thing too. It's like they've actually got to.
It'd be interesting to start with a basic AI and see how, like, a learning AI would be interesting to watch the development. But I don't think the actual racing would be interesting. I think it'd be interesting to see how the AI develops and learns and how it gets better. You see, one way I could agree to AI racing is if it was AI that after each race learned, and the AI competed against each other rather than the team engineers competing against each other, if you understand what I mean. Like, they create a basic software that, like, not basic, but like where they don't add to it, they let the AI learn rather than them adding more code. But they make a program that can get the car around a track, right? But this is a program that all teams can have, and then the teams develop a learning algorithm that they put into the car, and the car with the best learning algorithm will learn how to take better racing lines, how to, for example, not lock up the brakes. Like, that would be something I'd love to see.
And also, I'd like to see them actually, like, if the cars had the ability to modify their settings on the fly as well, like, so they didn't actually have to come back to the pits to get tuned. Like, they would tune themselves because they're learning how the track works and that sort of thing. That to me would be interesting as well.
That would be cool. But if it was just a car that had a program that said this, like, the program knew where the ideal racing line was because it had been pre-calculated and the car just got sent out on that racing line, that would be boring because that would just be watching cars or however many laps.
But like a lot of Formula One is kind of like that. Like, they don't pass each other, not really. I mean, like,
but I'd like to say, have you been keeping up with the recent season?
Not 2018, no.
Because 2018, alright, you will not be disappointed if you decide to go back and watch it. I mean, you could skip Spain because that was boring. Spain can go off in a corner because that was a terrible race. But the rest of them were quite good. I mean, really entertaining, a lot of overtaking. Like recently in Silverstone, the last 10 minutes of the race, there was 4 top runners within I think 5 seconds of each other.
Wow.
Just trading position.
Yeah.
It's been a really good season compared to last year's.
Well, that's good to hear,
And they're
because
really
I think
going.
because I
You
can't
should come back to the one.
I can't watch Formula One here because I don't have Sky, unfortunately.
You not use well, you can just use a VPN, can't you?
Probably, yeah. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, but that's good to hear because, as I said, I've been put off Formula One for quite some time because I haven't seen it on TV for a start. But having that there has been, I suppose having a recommendation will be quite good. Right, is there anything else to cover?
Topic.
No,
we don't have more.
No, we did have some gaming stuff that we skipped over, but other than that, no, we're actually out of topics.
No.
So, as I said, we won't have Fred on next week, so we'll say bye to him for now. He might come back on in about a month or so. We've got 2 new guests, Chris from Explaining Computers and Chris from The Good Old Gamer are coming on over the next few weeks as well. I'll have my PC back up and running, so it won't be on my damn laptop again. I can imagine this may not be the best quality of video. And Top Gear Los Santos will be back up and running very soon. I'll have to re-gauge what I need to do for that, I guess. And all my regular stuff will be out from next week on, like Need for Speed, channel update videos, and my thoughts. I'll probably get that back up and running. Plus, the computer build of mine and Dima's computer will be up in about a month as well. So, thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and follow him, and follow the Facebook group, and we'll see you all in the next video. Peace out for now. Bye bye.